Amelia Opie, N.E. Alderson, was an English author who published numerous novels in the Romantic period of the early 19th century, through 1828. Opie was also a leading abolitionist in Norwich, England. Early life and influences. She was born Amelia Alderson, the daughter of James Alderson, a physician, and Amelia Briggs of Norwich, England. She was a cousin of notable Judge Edward Hall Alderson, with whom she corresponded throughout her life, and also a cousin of notable artist Henry Peronet Briggs. Miss Alderson had inherited radical principles and was an ardent admirer of John Horntook. She was close to activists John Philip Kemble, Sarah Siddons, William Godwin and Mary Wollstonecraft. Marriage and family. In 1798 Alderson married John Opie, the painter. The 9 years of her married life before her husband's death were happy, although her husband did not share her love of society. With his encouragement, in 1801 she completed a novel entitled Father and Daughter, which showed genuine fancy and pathos. Writing career. Amelia Opie published regularly after that. Her volume of poems, published in 1802, went through 6 editions, and was followed by The Warrior's Return and other poems in 1808. More novels followed. Adeline Mowbray, Simple Tales, Temper, Tales of Real Life, Valentine's Eve, Tales of the Heart, and Madeline. Opie wrote The Dangers of Coquetry at age 18. Her novel Father and Daughter is about misled virtue and family reconciliation. Encouraged by her husband to continue writing, she published Adeline Mowbray, an exploration of women's education, marriage, and abolition of slavery. The novel is noted in particular for engaging the history of Opie's former friend Mary Wollstonecraft, whose relationship with the American Gilbert Imlay outside marriage caused some scandal, as did her later marriage to the philosopher William Godwin. Godwin had previously argued against marriage as an institution by which women were owned as property, but when Wollstonecraft became pregnant, they married despite his prior principles. In the novel, Adeline early on becomes involved with a philosopher who takes a principled stand against marriage, only to be convinced to marry a West Indian landowner against her better judgment. The novel also engages abolitionist sentiment, in the story of a mixed-race woman and her family whom Adeline saves from poverty at some expense to herself. Amelia Opie divided her time between London and Norwich, England. She was a friend of writers Sir Walter Scott, Richard Brinsley Sheridan and Madame de Stael. In 1825, following the death of her father who had objected, she joined the Society of Friends, due to the influence of Joseph John Gurney and his sisters, who were long-time friends and neighbours in Norwich. The rest of her life was spent mostly in travelling and working at charity, though she published an anti-slavery poem, The Black Man's Lament, in 1826, and a volume of devotional poems, Lays for the Dead, in 1834. Opie worked with Anna Gurney to create a ladies' anti-slavery society in Norwich. Opie went to World's Anti-Slavery Convention in London in 1840, where she was one of the few women who was included in the commemorative painting. Even late in life, Opie maintained connections with writers, for instance receiving George Borrow as a guest. After a visit to Cromer, a seaside resort on the North Norfolk coast, she caught a chill and retired to her bedroom. A year later, on the 2nd of December 1853, she died at Norwich and was said to retain her vivacity to the last. She was buried at the Gildencroft Quaker Cemetery, Norwich. A somewhat sanitized biography of her life by Miss C. L. Brightwell was published in 1854. Principal works: novels and stories. Dangers of Coquetry, 1790. The Father and Daughter, 1801. Adeline Mowbray, 1804. Simple Tales, 1806. September 1812. First chapter of Accidents. 1813. Tales of Real Life. 1813. Valentine's Eve. 1816. New Tales. 1818. Tales of the Heart. 1820. Madeline. 1822. Illustrations of Lying. 1824. Tales of the Pemberton Family for Children. 1825. The Last Voyage. 1828. Detraction Displayed. 1828. Miscellaneous Tales. 1845-7. Biographies. Memoir of John Opie. 1809. Sketch of Mrs. Roberts. 1814. Poetry Made of Corin. 1801. Elegy to the Memory of the Duke of Bedford. 1802. Poems. 1802. Lines to General Kosciuszko. 1803. Song to Stella. 1803. The Warrior's Return and Other Poems. 1808. The Black Man's Lament. 1826. Lays for the Dead. 1834. Miscellaneous Recollections of Days in Holland. 1840. Recollections of a Visit to Paris in 1802. 1831 to 1832.